Hey, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to look at the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5. Over the course of this week, through the next two devotions, and on top of this one, we're going to look at Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 through 12, okay? And these are called the Beatitudes, which sounds like a funny word. Think of it this way, though. Beatitudes is just things in life that if we do will lead to true happiness. Okay, so instead of beatitudes, we can think of them as ways to live life and be truly happy in the Lord, because it has to do with our relationship with Him. And so let's just dive right in. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 3, it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." These three statements about blessed are seem kind of strange. Blessed are the poor in spirit. I didn't think being poor was a good thing. Or mourning. I don't like to mourn. Mourning's not my favorite thing to do. Or to be meek. Usually we look at that as not being a very positive word. But Jesus uses these words in the Sermon on the Mount to help us see ourselves in light of our relationship with the Lord, and how we can have true happiness. And so we first look at blessed are the poor in spirit. What he's getting at is a characteristic, right? Poor in spirit is a form of being a characteristic we can have. And that's recognizing that we are spiritually bankrupt or very poor when it comes to our ability to live life without sin. Okay, so if we recognize it, blessed are those who recognize their spiritual bankruptcy, right? Their spiritual poorness, that we got nothing, because we'll inherit the kingdom of heaven. Because if we recognize that we don't have anything apart from our relationship with God, we're going to inherit the kingdom. If we think we can do things on our own ability, our own strength, our own ways, we're not going to inherit the kingdom, because that's doing it under our power instead of the power of Christ. And so, blessed are those who see their need for Jesus. Number two, it says, blessed are those who mourn, okay? For they shall be comforted, okay? Again, it's a sense of mourning this world that we live in. We see there's lots of pain and sickness and suffering and even death. And it's tragic, and we should mourn the loss of people in our lives. And we also have to recognize, Jesus said, blessed are those who recognize that this is not our home, that we should mourn the sinfulness of our world, because they shall be comforted. Later on in the book of Matthew, Jesus says, all who are burdened and heavy laden, come to me, for I will give you rest, or I will give you comfort. And so Jesus is telling us in the Beatitudes that if we recognize that this is not our home, if we are followers of Christ, that this is some strange land with pain and sickness and death, that we will mourn that, but know that we will be comforted through Christ and the hope we have in Him. And the last beatitude I want to look at is blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Okay, what does it mean to be meek? We talk about meek and mild, to kind of just be quiet maybe, and I don't think that's what this is getting at. I think when we see that blessed are the meek, it really means like blessed are those who are humble, right? No one likes arrogant people. No one likes people who are a know-it-all. We need to recognize that if we are going to be followers of the Lord Jesus Christ, and we are going to have true happiness in this world, we've got to be humble. It's something I can learn and something you can learn, and we can be challenged by that, because it's not a natural propensity or a natural reaction of our body is to be humble. But I think if we want to have true happiness in relation to God, we will learn to be humble, because we know that through humility we can proclaim the truth of Christ. No one wants to listen to an arrogant person. Let's just be real, right? It says they will inherit the earth. Most people who are very humble, people listen to them and are willing to give them a chance to listen to them in a sense that helps them to proclaim that truth of Christ, right? So we see three: blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, and blessed are the meek. The first half is a characteristic, like I said, poor, mourning, and meek, right? The second half is a promise we get from Jesus, right? So if we are poor in spirit, we will inherit the kingdom of heaven. If we are mourning, right, we shall be comforted. If we are meek or humble, we shall inherit the earth. And so there's a promise from Jesus. So I want you to do two things when you look at these three Beatitudes. Think about them in a sense that we want to look at what is the character that Jesus is calling us to. And secondly, pray how we might live that out so we can get the promise from Jesus. So we want to live out the characteristic so we can have the promise that Jesus gives us in the Beatitudes. And this is for those who trust in the Lord and know that he is the only hope we have. I pray that this blessed you today, and I hope to see you again on Wednesday. Have a great day.